get to the first kind of guy that I want to talk about, or two guys, Brandon Aiyuk and Ceedee Lamb. This is kind of going to be a similar, I wrote in my notes, similar situation to what happened with Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown last year. Basically what happened last year with the Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel situation was each one of those guys, all three of those guys who were all drafted in the same draft class, the 2019 draft class, all three of them basically held out for contracts until one of them would sign a contract, and then all three of them signed. The strategy to this is those three receivers, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, and Terry McLaurin, are all in the same draft class and I would say same tier of receivers. So they were all holding out, and whatever the other guy got, they were going to ask for from their respective teams. So I could see this happening with Brandon Aiyuk and Ceedee Lamb when they both go asking for contract extensions from their respective teams, because they're both going to want a big-time contract, and they're both probably going to be made one of the highest-paid receivers in the league. And so we're going to see probably the same drama that happened with Deebo Samuel happen with Brandon Aiyuk. 49ers fans, don't panic. I think Brandon Aiyuk is going to get extended. Here's the thing, here's my theory with the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk. If the 49ers, there's been a lot of rumors, well, we trade him, we don't have enough money to keep him around, and I'll get to that in just a second. But if we were to let him go, we would be so stupid, and here's my reason. He is just now starting to really break out, and really, you see with most NFL receivers, they really don't start to hit their stride until year 3, and then they become elite. And this guy, I think the reason why the 49ers really didn't draft much receiver this year is because they're going to try to force feed him the ball a lot more this season. And I like it, because here's the thing with Brandon Aiyuk. It's like this guy is now just finally starting to hit his stride, and he showed elite flashes last year. And if the 49ers were to let him go, they would be kidding themselves. They would be making a terrible mistake, and they know that. So they need to keep him around. And I just think that here's my theory. George Kittle getting a little bit older, and somebody on Grant Cohn's show, the Cohn Phone, mentioned this today, and they said, do we trade George Kittle, our tight end, after this year? And I said, and Grant said, I mean, that's not a bad idea. George Kittle's close to 30 years old, 28, 29, and even though he's still a very good tight end, his production the last 2 years he hasn't really seemed as dominant of a tight end as he was in 2019. And it's just with receiver, especially how physical of a tight end he is, he never plays a full season every year. I mean, last season he played 12 games. He got healthy towards the end of the season, but a guy like him never plays a physical style that he plays, will not last much longer in the league. And it's you want to kind of try to replace him. And so if they get rid of him, I didn't actually get the time. Let me look up his, sorry guys, I have been nonstop all day, but let me look up his contract for 2024, because the thing is right now, I think you could still get a pretty good price for George Kittle from a different, from a desperate team. And so it's what I could see them doing is after next year, just trading him. George Kittle contract. Okay, so I got it here. Okay, so his contract it actually ends in 2020. Yeah, it ends in 2025. I could see after this next year, he's owed about, so in 2024, his cap hit is $13 million. Let's see, his cap hit is actually $19 million. His average salary is about $13 million, but his cap hit, the dead cap would be $9 million. And if you were to cut him, you would lose around 19 million. I think that's what it says. $19 million. Almost 20, $19.8 million. So his contract is getting expensive. And if you can trade him, that gets him off the books, and you can now extend Brandon Aiyuk, because right now it's looking like the 49ers probably won't be able to extend Brandon Aiyuk without getting rid of one of their stars that is highly paid on the team. And right now, I would rather have Brandon Aiyuk for the long term than George Kittle, just because George Kittle's age, his production has kind of fallen off the last few years, even though he's still good.